Yeah. So what actually changed when we moved to desktop-based application to web-based application? Because earlier all the softwares were deployed to the desktop, and then now it's just the software is deployed to some other servers, right? Nothing much changes here. Earlier it was your desktop, now it is deployed in one of the servers, right? But nothing changes from the user perspective, like how I'm gonna use. Just it's like earlier I was using from my desktop, now I'll open that URL and will be able to access this particular web application. Now what happened? As the computation things increases, so what actually happened, the web applications became very complex. So now web application does a lot of job, right? You can imagine any of the e-commerce site. So a normal e-commerce site runs like there will be order flow, there will be seller flow, there will be analytics server, there will be payment service, right? And there can be a number of other things in one of the web applications. Agreed? Now what was happening? Earlier we were used to write the code in a single package. Okay? Probably we can modularize this code in multiple modules. But again, it was deployed as a bunch in the desktop application, or it was deployed as a bunch in this web applications. So till here it was all okay, right? But as the complexity of your code started to increase, it was not feasible to manage that particular code, right? And why I'm saying it was not feasible to manage the code, can you give me some reasons why it was not possible to manage the code?
A person has to understand the whole code whenever he needs to make a change
Correct.
in the.
So whenever a new person joins in, he needs to understand the entire piece of code and how the entire interaction is happening between all those modules, right? He needs to understand that. So practically it was not feasible for a new person to join in and interact, because he needs to work on a smaller piece, but you need to go ahead and understand entire system so that he can make a change, right? All modules could be highly coupled, right? Because all the modules were calling each other and there was no exact separation of concern. It was getting difficult for a person to manage this tightly coupled. Exactly, that's the point. Now when we said that this was the problem, it gave origin to another problem, like the problem where, like inexperienced developer comes in, okay, he is recently hired, he is not aware of the code, and he makes some commit because he knows he is fixing some of the issues, but he is unaware where all these particular things are getting used, right? So he makes some kind of a change, and it can happen, it can break the entire system, right? Or it can break some of the pieces of the system. It can happen because it was highly coupled, right? Now the third problem was, imagine let's suppose Prime Day sale, right? Prime Day sale. So there are multiple flows, right? There are seller flow, there are order flow, there are analytics flow, there are payment flow, and there can be a number of other microservices in a normal e-commerce website. So do you really think in a Prime Day, which all modules will be require higher amount of scaling? Probably the order processing can require higher amount of scaling. Seller will require, but probably to a limited extent. Analytics, probably. Payment will require some kind of a mechanism. Cashback can be one of the delayed operation, right? Even if you'll process the cashback in 2 days, is still fine, right? So probably you don't need to scale that cashback service to that extent. And there can be a number of other services which does not require to be scaled up during a peak event, right? Let's suppose there are some legal team, right? So there is some legal system which manages, everything is fine or not. Probably that does not need to scale. And there can be other services. Cashback definitely can be one. So there will be other services which does not require to be scaled up. But what was the problem with this particular architecture? This entire thing was clubbed in one, right? Now this entire thing needs to be deployed as a whole. So whenever you want to scale up ordering system or the payment system, probably all other system were automatically getting scaled up, right? So probably this was one of the inefficient thing. Based upon the scaling, you can't scale up individual component, rather you want the entire system to be scaled up, right? This was one of the major drawback. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Now let's talk about one more drawback. Now let's suppose this was all were clubbed in a single piece. So whenever the deployment used to happen, okay, let's suppose I pick a Friday evening, because that's what the time managers love to do the deployment, right? So the entire team or the persons or the representative from each and every team is required to be present at the deployment time, right? Because it can happen, there are some commit which is causing problem, and the integration test can't work efficiently, right? Because there will be a lot of systems talking to each other. So integration test might not be the only probable solution in that case, and you need to do some kind of a manual testing, right? So deployment were becoming really complex. Deployment were becoming really complex, right? And the scaling was definitely one of the problem. Okay, now I just want to ask one question. And downtime of entire system, yes, it can result in a downtime of entire system. Let's suppose there was some critical piece that got broken, and it is resulting in a failure of other system as well. And how we'll see these things are tackled in a microservice approach, we'll see now. Okay, now I just want to ask one question, and it's just to test the whether you are understanding the system or not. We talked about horizontal scaling and the vertical scaling, right? So this is microservice based architecture that will cover later, and this is the monolithic one, right? So this is horizontal scaling, okay, and this is vertical scaling. So what do you think? Monolithic architecture goes towards a horizontal scaling or vertical scaling?
Vertical scaling.
Which one? Vertical scaling.
Vertical.
Anyone else? Everyone vertical scaling. So that was one of the trick question. So can you guys try explaining why vertical scaling is required in monolithic thing, and why not horizontal scaling?
There are a lot of processes done in the one system.
Correct. So let's suppose there are services running, right? There are 20 services. Let's suppose there are 20 components in a monolithic architecture, right? So still it can be deployed in one of the infras, right? Probably this infra packages deployed to a single system. Definitely packages are deployed to a single system. It will be a high-end machine, right? It can happen, it will be a high-end machine. But to scale that system, right? Let's suppose earlier your request was, let's suppose 200 TPS, right? And suddenly on a prime day, you are expecting 2000 TPS. So do you need to just add the capacity in this machine, or you can deploy altogether a different system parallel to this? This is in the monolith also. This is a single piece of code, right? This is a single build file that will get deployed, right? Either it can be deployed on this particular thing, this particular machine, or you can create a parallel instance and deploy that particular to that machine. Can you do this? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes or no? I want the answer from
Yes.
yes, right? So if you can deploy that particular your packages in a different system or a parallel system, okay, it's a vertical scaling or a horizontal scaling?
Horizontal.
It's a horizontal scaling, right? So monolithic also does not impose any of the restrictions on the vertical scaling or the horizontal scaling. And why I ask this question explicitly, because many of the people get confused that the monolithic services require only the vertical scaling, but it is not so, right? Monolithic service can also have horizontal scaling, right? But the problem is you need to scale each and every system. It can't happen that you scale only one of the system. Deployment will get trickier, right? Single point of failure it can result into. Developer inefficiency it will create, right? These are the problems of monolithic services, not horizontal scaling versus vertical scaling. Clear with this point?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's talk about the microservices. So what we did, this was our big system, okay? And we tried, and these were a lot of systems, right? There were the code of the order system, it has the code of the payment system, it has the code of the analytics thing, it has code of something else, right? Now what we did, we tried to break this entire system into multiple pieces. It was payment, it was order, okay, and let's suppose analytics and some other random service, okay. Now, the deployment happens with each and every system, right? These all systems can be managed by smaller teams, right?
Yes.
So whenever a new person joins, he does not need to understand the entire code. So will it increase the developer efficiency? Yes or no?
Yes.
And now, whenever you need to make any of the changes, probably you don't need to surely be like, if you're making a changes payment service, you can be sure that it won't affect other microservices till the time you are not changing the contract, right? So what is this contract? Earlier, all the services were in a single big project kind of a thing, right? So each were calling everyone whenever it was needed, just like a normal method call. Now, these all are sitting somewhere else, right? So there needs to be a proper contract between each and everyone, right? I'll call you with these signatures, okay? And you need to give me a response in this particular format, right? Probably I'll give you the order ID in string. You need to give me the response, let's suppose in the JSON. So few of the, probably you can use the REST API or the SOAP APIs, and you can get the response probably in JSON and whatever the contract you define it. So unless or until you don't change the contract, you are free to make any of the changes. And if you break the system, you will break the system of only the payment service, not the entire system, right? So probably, let's suppose a normal e-commerce site is running, even the payment service is down, probably the users can see the detail page and everything, right? Only the payment will be broken, so probably the order won't go through. Let's suppose if it is the analytics servers that went down, so probably it won't cause any of the outage for the order system, detail page, or any of the things, right? Agreed? Clear with this?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now, can we say ki monolithic is a way better architecture? Monolithic is a way better architecture than the microservice. Microservice is a better architecture than the monolithic service. Can we say yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
If I ask why, I'll just give the example of one thing. Sorry, Kumang, just to cut you off. I'll just give one reason. See, in system design, nothing is right or nothing is wrong, right? Start the first sentence that I gave. It's just the better or what is not so better, right? And every time you need to justify why it is better and why it is not better, right? So now you need to justify why the microservice is better and why not monolithic. Scalable. Rahul said scalable. Definitely microservices are scalable, but you can't say that only microservices are scalable. Even the monolithic services are scalable, right? We saw horizontal scaling, right?
Scaling time can be issue in the.
Why you think scaling time can be one of the issues?
So let's say there is one monolithic service and we are deploying that in another machine. And if we have a microservice, let's say that's our order service, payment service, just like that, and we can parallelly deploy all the microservices and not the only monolithic service. So the scaling time can be reduced in that case.
Correct. It is partially true, but I won't buy that point. Why? Because see, even probably your build system can take some time. Okay? Whatever the runnable file is there, probably it can take some time to build, right? But it is a very negligible time. Probably it will just be a time difference of 2 or 3 minutes. Okay? And in that particular thing, the scaling can kick in and it will do the job. And even if you're talking about a sudden spike, right? Probably no one will be able to adjust if you have not clearly thought about this particular use case, right? Because even the auto scaling can take 5 minutes to 10 minutes, and even sometimes it takes 15 to 20 minutes, right? Because the auto scaling rule needs to decide, yeah, I need to scale up. It needs to procure a host. It needs to deploy the service. It needs to make sure the service is running registered with LB. So these all things can take 5 to 10 minutes and even sometimes greater than this, right? So this particular thing, scaling a monolithic is a difficult and scaling a microservices easier is not a great point to buy in for. But yeah, we can say कि scaling a monolithic will require all the services to scale, even we are required to scale that service or not. But in microservices, we can scale the services, whichever services we want, right? Only the
I have another point.
yeah.
Go on. Sorry.
No, I was just saying same. Probably you can just scale payment service or the order service. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I have another point. I think where microservices can be better, because I think as we go on building bigger systems,
Mhm.
so like no, we cannot follow a single language. So let's say we don't need to use Java for every service. We can use Java for one service, C++ for one
Correct,
service.
correct. This
But
is
if we
one
have
of the interesting
single,
feature of the microservice. Yeah, exactly. Very good point, Rao. Now, whenever you are just separating these microservices, right? So this is a payment service, this is an analytics service. The contract should remain same, right? And underneath, you can have the code in any of the languages, right? Because there is a bunch of, let's suppose the Python developer who is so good with machine learning and all those algorithms in Python, they can write down the code here in Python. Some can write down the code in Perl or some other language. Just the contract need to be same and everything will operate. So microservices gives a great way of multi-language support kind of a thing. Yeah. Okay. Any other point?
Not the single point of failure.
Not the single point of failure. Yes, this is one of the good point in microservices. Still, microservices sometimes can create a single point of failure if you have poorly designed the microservice architecture. But you can fairly assume that microservices probably gives a better mechanism of it won't allow the single point of failure. It can have the some kind of way to figure out and probably manage on the single point of failure. So that is the good point to have. Any other point? So responsibility was the one thing, because in Java, a class will have single responsibility. That is only one service. Not only a class, probably even one service can have multiple class, right, Nidhi? But
Yes.
yes, so each and every service will compose of many classes. But imagine in Java, you used to have what we called as the God class, right? What is God class in Java? It's not a term. We often say it's a God class. You might have seen a Java file with more than, let's suppose, 2000 line of code. Have you guys anytime seen this kind of a file? Might not. Okay, great. So what happens? We start with 200 line of a code or 50 line of code, and we keep on adding the responsibilities, right? We keep on adding responsibilities to this particular thing, and the developer who is making the changes is so good at it, right? He knows in and out of that particular class, so he can make any changes without any of the problem. But what if he leaves the organization and a new person comes in? He will say 2000 line of code, and he can't even figure out of 10 line of code in that particular stuff, right? So it will result in a mess. So everything starts from small, but ultimately it can result in a mess, and that's what happens the problem, right? Monolithic looks good in the start, but as the complexity of your web application grows, it will result in a disaster, right? Now, one of the important characteristics, what about latency? This is one of the important performance mechanism, right? Latency. So what do you think? Latency will be better in monolithic or microservices?
latency I think would be better in monolithic, because in microservices there are multiple calls to multiple services.
Correct. Latency will be
Yes.
better in the monolithics because all the calls will be a local call, right?
Yeah,
It's
like
just like a
within the
method call.
memory.
Correct. It's just like a method call. And in this all, you need to call the probably over the network, get the response. So this will be slower. But still, sometimes so this is the trade-off, right? Whether you want simplicity
But
or
we
you want,
can,
yeah,
that way we can consider the processing time as well, right?
we can.
We're considering the processing time.
Uh, pro-
Maybe if, in the monolith everything will be synchronous, and in the microservice, like each one will be asynchronous and each will execute on different machine.
No,
need
but
not.
in monolithic also
Yeah.
you can create separate threads and it can be asynchronous.
Yes, those things can be there, but can't you make the sync call in the microservices? It can
yes, we
happen.
can do it, but
Yes, and many a times it needs to be done. Let's suppose you have a web app, right? This is a kind of a monolithic architecture, and right, most of the companies you will find in a process of migrating to microservices. So few of their components will be bulky, few of their components will be very lightweight, right? Because ultimately they realize that now they need to shift to microservices. But sometimes it's too late, right? You need to just take out one of the modules, deploy it independently. If it works, then probably you need to start working on a different project. So this entire migration can take even years to complete, right? So let's suppose this is your web app, and this the earlier example, right? This is a billfish service. So web app needs to call this billfish service in a sync manner, not in a sync manner. It can't happen that you call this service in a sync manner because user is waiting for the response of this particular service, right? So even in microservices, you can call the services in a sync, and sometimes you can leverage the async mechanism. Same way you can achieve in the monolithic, but mostly these all call are syncs, right? Because this is just like a normal method call. Okay? Clear with this point, or need any follow-up question on that? Okay, yeah, this particular point, single responsibility is one of the ideal characteristics to have with the microservices, because each and every individual component will be taking a single business unit and doing the processing alone. It will have its own database. Okay? And when you can say it's a good microservice or it's a bad microservice, right? How you can say that? Okay, before jumping to that, we talked about this latency concern, right? Everyone is clear with this? Latency will be better in monolithic or microservices?
Monolithic.
Monolithic, right? Now, when I say performance, performance is a good aspect of a system design, right? And latency was one of them. So this microservice is resulting in higher latency. Still, we are relying on these microservices, or we are moving towards this microservice architecture. Why? Because of the other benefits. So it's always a trade-off between what's working for us or not, right? So we can't say that microservice is better, neither we can say that monolithic is better. It depends what is our use case. And I want to ask a very simple question. Can traffic be one of the factor for deciding microservice versus monolithic?
Sorry?
Traffic. Let's suppose earlier you used to have, let's suppose, 2000 requests per second. Okay? Suddenly you have grown to, let's suppose, 2 lakh transaction per second. Just a realistic number probably, just a random number I'm quoting. But is this number indicating you that you should move to microservice from monolithic? Yes or no? Rahul says yes. Any other? Anyone else?
Yes.
Yes. Why?
So the same thing we discussed earlier, that some of the services required scaling. Let's say on the prime day you will require scaling for order service and payment service, but for the analytics will not require.
But can this transaction per second of the TPS, can it indicate about complexity? Let's suppose you have this tiny URL, right? Tiny URL. This entire responsibility is only one thing: taking a URL from a customer, returning a tiny URL, right? Now, let's suppose you increase the traffic from 2000 to whatever number, it is still going to do a single job, right? Let's suppose this tiny URL does not have analytics team, or does not have some other complex team, or a different business unit, right? Only a single. So whether it is a 2000 request or 20,000 or 2 lakh request, does it going to change anything in the complexity of the system?
No.
You can create multiple parallel instances of this, and it can suffice this particular increasing load as well, right? So traffic can't be the ultimate factor to say whether to move to microservices or not. But what need to say? Complexity of the system. Complexity of the system means how many different types of interaction is happening, how many different business units are there, right? And there is no clear-cut identification that this is a right microservice architecture, this is a wrong microservice architecture, right? Someone can even drill down a service to, let's suppose, 10 number of component, and someone can drill down to 5, but we can't say that this is better or this is better. It depends upon the use case, right? We'll talk about few of the good practices to have in the microservices, and eventually based upon that, you judge whether it's a good microservice architecture or not. Okay? In Java, you used to have this design pattern, right? Not only in Java, but predominantly used in this Java and all, right? So what is design pattern? These are set of guidelines, right? Is these design patterns are mandate? You need to use this design pattern only, and if you don't use this design pattern, this is not a good design.
No.
So these are the suggestions to say you are doing something wrong. If you are just probably not adopting to this design pattern, probably it is an indicator to say you are not doing the right thing, and probably in future you can run into some problem. Okay? So based upon the on the microservices at front as well, there are set of guidelines which says whether you are doing it correct or you are doing it incorrectly, right? So we'll see about microservices, about those practices, and what all things we need to consider in the microservices. We'll talk about this service discovery as well. We'll talk about rate limiter. Okay? Probably these are not limited to this only, but we're going to cover these all topics in the next. Okay? I'm done from the session side. Okay? 5 minutes left. It will just close this session. Okay? Anyone have any question? This Zoom 40-minute limit, that's why. Any questions?
So the producer consumer architecture we discussed, so can it happen in monolith?
Can it happen in?
Monolith?
Probably, see, in monolith, you don't require those things, right? Producer consumer where, like, when these systems are separated, probably you are just joining them by queues, right? Probably you can do, okay, but it is ultimately not required, because all systems are sitting in a single place. You just need to call a method. If it does not happen, put that entry in the database and just get that entry from the database and do the job. Probably it can happen. I'll give you an interaction that can happen in a monolithic. Let's suppose you have service A, okay? It puts all the record in service B, and here you have the a cron job kind of a thing running in this architecture only, and this cron job picks the request from this queue. This can also happen. So probably you can design, but ultimately it's not required to have.
Another question I have, Ravi.
Yeah.
So when do you decide that you need to convert a microservices architecture from a monolithic architecture?
Yeah.
Like what are the specific things?
Complexity is the ultimate thing that you need to predict, right? So complexity of the systems, whether you are going to have multiple business units, whether you are going to hire multiple people for multiple teams, you are going to form multiple teams. So these all can give you indication about now you need to move to microservice architecture. Because if you just couple this whole system in this way, right? This is calling this, and whatever the interaction is. If you want to decouple this system just, right, you need to take care of a lot of things. You need to manage this entire deployment. And now you need to make sure whether this entire system is not breaking, okay? And you're transferring the call to a different services. You need to make sure on these things as well, right? So converting from a monolithic to microservices can give you a lot of pain, right? So you need to decide upfront whether you want to move or not. But most of the companies earlier were in a monolithic kind of architecture, right? But they ultimately realize it's not working for them, and it's the cool word around the microservices. Let's suppose company A hires architect, right? And he comes with a lot of background and he says, yeah, I have heard a cool word called microservices, right? If microservices uses things, I'll take this question and then I'll come to that. Okay. So architect comes up and he says, now I need to move to microservices. So the company has decided to just decouple each and every component and probably going to the microservice. But you need to be upfront sure whether you want to move to microservices or not based upon these factors: complexity of the system, how many teams are gonna be, what's the interaction between those components, are those components having this different business unit. So those all things can be the parameter to judge whether you want to move to a microservice architecture or not. Then how it's Monica, I'm not able to I'm not clear with the question. If microservices use a sync call, then how it's then monolithic? So I guess you are asking how it is different than monolithic, right?
No, I mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
like which parameters for microservice will be better than monolithic?
Which parameter?
On which parameters, like microservice, like as you told that it's a trade-off between monolithic and micro service, like which one we want depends on the like what's the application, right? So
Yeah.
my question is, like, if the microservice is using sync calls, then in what case it will be better compared to monolithic system?
I'll just post the Google Meet link here on the group. Probably it's just showing less than a minute. I'm not exactly sure. The call will disconnect. Okay. So after this call, I'll
Okay.
share the Meet link. You can join for 3-4 minutes, and I'll answer those questions there.
Okay.